is different from their situation. No, it's not. I didn't molest anybody. I didn't touch anybody. That's effed up in my book.
And you know what? She raises a valid point. What happened? Well, the show got canceled after it hit TMZ. She said TLC helped to cover it up on Here Comes Honey Boo Boo, which means they helped to cover it up, I'm sure, on 19 Kids and Counting. But, you know, the preservation of the almighty dollar is stymied when the press gets a hold of the fact that you are actively helping to employ child molesters, and, well, then you got to distance yourself from it, which is exactly what that institution once known as the Learning Channel did. Anyway. Oh, you know what's interesting about this? Back in 2008, hold on, let's see if we can't grab this. Josh Duggar, who, if you've ever watched the show, is without question a scumbag. Josh Duggar is without question a scumbag. Back in 2008, 19 Kids and Counting was called 17 Kids and Counting, and Josh Duggar was a scumbag back then. In fact, he made an incest joke involving his brother and sister. No word on whether it was one of the sisters that he molested, but this was, well, after he'd done the molesting. Let's take a listen to this, shall we?
Ginger was chosen as our chaperone, and then she had to be pulled off because the movie we were going to see had to be over 18. It was a preview screening of a good movie, and anyway, that's the reason why Ginger was not our chaperone. So we chose Jana and John David. We thought, why not have a double date? We are from Arkansas, no. We thought, why not have a double date? We are from Arkansas, no.
Yeah. Creepy. Especially given the fact that, turns out, well, he molested his sisters. Perhaps not as repentant as he claimed to be. Look, let's be very real about the situation here, though. I think he was 14 years old when he molested his sisters. Something that he feels comfortable joking about years later. Let's remove his character, his questionable, rickety... let's just face it. He deserves to be thrown in jail, and he needs an ass kicking. Let's forget his adult character, though, and go back to the time when he was 14 years old and molesting 5 other kids. A 14-year-old, generally speaking, to the best of my understanding, doesn't just up and molest other children. They're usually part of some cycle of abuse. And, well, who knows where that came from. But they're part of a sect of Christianity that is now being scrutinized more than ever. They're part of a sect of Christianity, quiverful, that, well, is extremely repressive. You're not allowed to hold hands, I don't think, before you're married. Are you? I don't know. You're definitely not allowed to kiss. You're definitely not allowed to have premarital sex. I'm sure that there are all sorts of restrictions about the amount of touchy, selfie, wacky you're allowed to do. You probably think you're blowing it with God. Should you cast your seed upon the ground? So it results in a lot of people being extraordinarily tightly wound. Yeah. Bill Gothard. He is the director for the Institute in Basic Life Principles. He has ties to Mike Huckabee and Sarah Palin, former Georgia Governor Sonny Perdue. They're part of the whole Quiverful movement. He's a big standard bearer for the Duggars type of Christianity. In the 80s, his brother was forced to resign from what he was doing after his extramarital affairs with several secretaries came to light. In 2014, more than 30 women who worked as administrative assistants in this religious organization as teens accused Bill Gothard of having sexually harassed them or acted inappropriately, saying he fondled or kissed them. It's kind of like the Bill Cosby thing. where there's that much smoke, there has to be a certain amount of fire. What is it? What is it with weird culty versions of religion? There's almost always a bizarre sexual component. David Koresh, the Branch Davidian dude, he forbid all of his folks from having sex with their wives, saying he was the only one that was allowed to do it, and wound up doing that with a lot of underage girls. There's that wackadoo from the Mormon church who's in jail for child molestation. There's always some bizarre sexual component to these weird, culty, religious things, like the Duggars brand of Christianity, Quiverful. I'll give Mike Huckabee this. He's pretty honest and not afraid to take a stand. In fact, that the fact that it's a stand that could destroy his presidential campaign and maybe even his personal reputation doesn't seem to bother him. He's standing in support of the Duggars. Just days before her husband's molestation was made public, Anna Duggar posted a message on Instagram saying, quote, "The three most beautiful and liberating words in the English language are these: I forgive you." It's probably a good time to remind ourselves that a few years ago, Duggar family matriarch Michelle Duggar campaigned against a bill that would allow transgenders to use women's restrooms. Michelle Duggar campaigned against a bill that would allow transgenders to use women's restrooms. Like, you know, the whole pro-life thing. The whole, hey, why don't we bring more of your children into the world? And by the way, this is part of, you know why they breed so effusively in this particular religion? Like, they've just been very successful at cranking out kids. But people that are part of this Quiverful movement, religion, sect, whatever you want to call it, cult, let's just go with cult. People that are a part of this are actively trying to out-reproduce Muslims. That's why. That's the thing. It's a new religion. It's newer than Scientology. But it's a good time to remind ourselves, a few years ago, Duggar family matriarch Michelle Duggar campaigned against a bill that would allow transgenders to use women's restrooms because, of course, that would expose children to sexual predators. How about minding your own shop?